The vast expanse of space had long been dominated by a single overwhelming force, the Galactic Empire. For millennia, they had spread across the stars, conquering and absorbing countless alien races into their ever-growing domain. Their technology was beyond compare, their military might unmatched. The Empire's rule seemed eternal and unshakable. At the heart of the Empire stood the Empress Zorak, a being of immense power and ruthless ambition. Her 6 eyes glowed with an eerie purple light as she gazed upon the holographic map of the galaxy. Countless worlds glowed green, signifying imperial control. But there, at the edge of a spiral arm, a small cluster of stars blinked in angry red. "What is the meaning of this?" Zorak's voice echoed through the cavernous throne room. Her advisors trembled before her. High Counselor Vextor stepped forward, his tentacles quivering with nervous energy. "Your Imperial Majesty, we have encountered resistance." Zorak's eyes narrowed. "Resistance? From whom?" "A species called humans, Your Majesty. They occupy a small planetary system in Sector 9. Our initial scouting parties were destroyed." The Empress's laughter filled the room, a sound that sent chills through her subordinates. "Destroyed? By primitives? Surely you jest, Vextor." But Vextor was not jesting. He activated a holographic display, showing recordings from the ill-fated scouting mission. The gathered aliens watched in stunned silence as human fighters swarmed their advanced ships, using unconventional tactics and surprising tenacity to overcome the Imperial forces. "Impossible," whispered Zorak, her usual confidence shaken for the first time in centuries. Meanwhile, on Earth, the united human forces celebrated their first victory against the alien invaders. In a hidden bunker deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, General Sarah Chen addressed the leaders of Earth's newly formed United Defense Force. "Ladies and gentlemen, we've won our first battle, but the war has only just begun." Chen's voice was firm, her eyes steely with determination. "Our victory today proves that humanity can stand against this galactic empire, but we must prepare for their retaliation." Scientists and engineers worked tirelessly, reverse engineering the alien technology salvaged from the battle. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, head of R&D, presented her findings to the assembled leaders. "Their ships use a form of faster-than-light travel we've dubbed slip space," Tanaka explained, her holographic displays showing complex equations and diagrams. "If we can adapt this technology, we might stand a chance of taking the fight to them." Back in the Empire's capital world, Empress Zorak had recovered from her initial shock. Now her anger burned hotter than a supernova. She summoned her top military commander, the fearsome General Krogath. Krogath was a monster of a being, standing 3 meters tall, his body a mass of armored plates and sharp spines. He knelt before the Empress, his gravelly voice resonating through the chamber. "Your will, my Empress." "These humans," Zorak spat the word like a curse. "They dare to challenge the might of our empire. Show them the price of defiance." Krogath. "Assemble the Armada of Annihilation." Krogath's mandibles clicked in anticipation. "It shall be done, Your Majesty. We will crush these upstarts and add their world to your glorious empire." As the empire prepared its massive assault, Earth's defenders worked frantically to bolster their defenses. The first wave had been repelled, but they knew the next attack would be far more devastating. In orbit around Jupiter, engineers and construction crews labored to build humanity's first line of defense, a massive array of satellites and space stations, bristling with weapons reverse-engineered from the alien technology. Captain Miguel Sanchez floated in zero gravity, overseeing the final installation of a particle cannon. His comlink crackled to life. "Captain, long-range sensors are picking up something big. Really big." Sanchez's blood ran cold. He knew what this meant. "Sound the alarm. They're coming." Across Earth, sirens wailed as the population rushed to shelters. Fighters scrambled. Ships moved into defensive formations. In command centers around the globe, Leaders steeled themselves for the coming storm. General Chen's voice echoed through every communication channel, reaching every soldier, every civilian. People of Earth, the enemy is at our doorstep. They think we'll be an easy conquest, another footnote in their history of galactic domination. But they're wrong. We are humanity. We've faced extinction before, and we've always survived. Now we'll show these aliens why they should have stayed far, far away from Earth. Stand fast. Fight hard. Humanity will prevail. As Chen's words faded, the sky lit up with the fire of 1,000 suns. The Armada of Annihilation had arrived, and the true test of humanity's resolve was about to begin. The Galactic Empire's first war with humans had started in earnest. The question now was, would humanity run or face destruction? The Armada of Annihilation hung in Earth's orbit like a swarm of angry metal insects. General Krogath stood on the bridge of his flagship, his eyes fixed on the blue planet below. He had expected fear, panic, maybe even immediate surrender. Instead, he saw defiance. Pitiful creatures, he growled. They have no idea of the power they face. His second-in-command, Commander Zix, approached cautiously. Sir, our scans show they've fortified their orbital defenses. They seem prepared. Krogath's laughter was like grinding stones. Prepared? For us? Impossible. Begin the assault. Show no mercy. On Earth, in the underground command center, General Sarah Chen watched as thousands of enemy ships descended from orbit. Her face was a mask of determination, but her hands trembled slightly. All units, this is it. She spoke into the global comm system. Remember your training. Remember what we're fighting for. Godspeed, everyone. The sky erupted in fire as the Empire's ships unleashed their first salvo. But to their shock, many of their energy beams were deflected by shimmering force fields around Earth's major cities. Dr. Yuki Tanaka's voice crackled over the comm. The reverse-engineered shields are holding, General, but they won't last forever. Chen nodded grimly. They don't need to, just long enough. Launch Operation Slingshot. From hidden bases around the globe, squadrons of fighters took to the skies. But these weren't ordinary aircraft. They were Earth's secret weapon, hybrid craft combining human ingenuity with stolen alien tech. Captain Miguel Sanchez led the charge, his voice steady as he addressed his squadron. Remember, people, hit and run. Don't give them a chance to lock on. Use the atmosphere to your advantage. The human fighters darted and weaved through the alien armada with impossible agility. They struck fast and hard, their weapons punching through the Imperial ship shields as if they weren't there. In space, Krogath watched in disbelief as his ships began to fall. Impossible. How are they doing this? Commander Zix's voice was tight with panic. Sir, they've adapted our technology. Our shields are useless against their weapons. On Earth, Chen allowed herself a small smile. Phase 1 complete. Begin Phase 2. Across the planet, massive cannons emerged from hidden bunkers. They aimed skyward and fired in unison. Huge projectiles streaked into space, but instead of exploding, they burst open, releasing swarms of tiny drones. In orbit, Imperial ships found themselves engulfed by clouds of these miniature attackers. The drones latched onto hulls, burrowing inside and wreaking havoc on internal systems. Krogath roared in fury as his mighty fleet began to crumble. Fall back. Regroup at the moon. But retreat wasn't easy. The humans had seeded the orbital paths with mines, turning space into a deadly obstacle course. Back on Earth, not everything was going smoothly. Several alien ships had broken through, laying waste to cities and military installations. In New York, Lieutenant Emma Rodriguez led a group of civilians through the ruins of Manhattan. Keep moving, she shouted over the sound of distant explosions. The subway tunnels are just ahead. As they ran, a massive alien walker rounded the corner, its weapons powering up. Rodriguez froze, knowing they had nowhere to hide. Suddenly, the ground beneath the walker exploded, From the crater emerged a massive humanoid robot, Earth's own battle mech. It grappled with the alien machine, buying time for the civilians to escape. Similar scenes played out around the world. Humanity fought with everything it had, unleashing secret weapons and unconventional tactics that kept the invaders off balance. In the command center, Shen received reports from around the globe. The news was mixed: victories and losses, heroes emerging and cities falling. But one thing was clear: humanity was not going quietly. "General," a young analyst called out, "the enemy fleet is retreating. They're falling back to the dark side of the moon." A cheer went up in the command center, but Chen silenced it with a raised hand. "This isn't over. Not by a long shot. They'll be back, and in greater numbers." She turned to Dr. Tanaka. "How soon can we get our own ships space-worthy? It's time we took the fight to them." Tanaka's eyes gleamed with excitement. "Give me 48 hours. We're about to make history." As the first wave of the Empire's assault retreated, Earth enjoyed a momentary respite. But both sides knew this was just the beginning. The Galactic Empire had never faced a species like humans before: adaptable, tenacious, and utterly unwilling to submit. The next phase of the war was about to begin, and the galaxy would never be the same. The dark side of the moon buzzed with activity as the remnants of the Imperial fleet licked their wounds. General Krogath paced furiously in his command center, his massive form casting long shadows in the dim light. "How?" he roared. "How did these primitives repel us?" Commander Zix approached cautiously, holding a datapad. "Sir, our analysis shows they've somehow reverse-engineered our technology, and they've improved upon it." Krogath's eyes narrowed. "Impossible. No species has ever adapted so quickly." "There's more," Zix continued. "We've intercepted transmissions. The humans are planning something big. They call it Operation Starfall." Meanwhile, on Earth, frenzied preparations were underway. In a massive underground hangar beneath the Mojave Desert, Dr. Yuki Tanaka supervised the final touches on humanity's secret weapon. "Status report." General Chen's voice crackled over the comm. Tanaka grinned, her eyes shining with pride. "The Exodus fleet is ready, General. 6 carriers, each housing 100 fighters. And the flagship, well, you need to see it to believe it." Chen nodded. "I'm on my way. We launch in 3 hours." As Chen's transport sped towards the secret base, cities around the world continued to rebuild. In the ruins of Tokyo, a young girl named Akira helped her father clear rubble from their home. "Papa," she asked, looking up at the sky, "will the aliens come back?" Her father paused, following her gaze. "They might, Akira. But this time, we're going to them." High above, the first wave of Earth's space fleet broke through the atmosphere. Leading the charge was the HSS Avenger, Earth's first true battleship. On its bridge stood Captain Miguel Sanchez, his face set with determination. "All ships report in," he commanded. One by one, the fleet's captains sounded off. Last to speak was Lieutenant Emma Rodriguez, now in command of her own ship. "Yes, Defiant. Ready for action, sir." Sanchez allowed himself a small smile. "All right, people. Let's go make history." As Earth's fleet approached the moon, alarms blared through the Imperial base. Krogath watched in disbelief as the human ships appeared on his sensors. "Impossible," he muttered. "They shouldn't have this capability." But the evidence was undeniable. The human fleet engaged the Imperial ships with a ferocity that took the aliens by surprise. Earth fighters swarmed like angry hornets, their weapons slicing through alien defenses. On board the Avenger, Sanchez coordinated the attack. "Carrier Group, launch second wave. Rodriguez, take your squad and target their command center." "With pleasure, sir," Rodriguez replied, her ship peeling off towards the lunar surface. The battle raged across cislunar space. Imperial ships, still reeling from their earlier defeat, found themselves outmaneuvered at every turn. Human adaptations of their technology proved devastatingly effective. In the Imperial Command Center, chaos reigned. "We've lost the orbital defense grid." An officer shouted, "Our ships are falling back." Krogath snarled in fury, "Launch the Worldbreaker. We'll reduce their planet to ash." From the far side of the moon, a massive ship began to rise. The Worldbreaker was the pride of the Imperial fleet, a planet-destroying superweapon that had ended countless civilizations. On the Avengers Bridge, alarms blared. "Sir," the sensor officer called out, "we're detecting a massive energy buildup from that large ship." Sanchez's blood ran cold. He opened a channel to Earth. "General Chen, they're powering up some kind of superweapon. We can't stop it from here." In the Movav base, Chen turned to Tanaka. "Tell me the Exodus is ready." Tanaka nodded grimly. "It's now or never." Chen took a deep breath and gave the order. "Initiate Operation Starfall." Across Earth, massive silos opened in secret locations. From each one, a colossal rocket roared to life. These weren't ordinary missiles. They were the last-ditch effort of a species fighting for survival. In space, the human fleet scattered as dozens of rockets streaked past them. The Imperial forces, focused on charging the Worldbreaker, didn't realize the danger until it was too late. The rockets impacted the massive superweapon, but instead of exploding, they burrowed deep into its hull. From each rocket emerged swarms of nanobots, a creation born from the merger of human AI and alien technology. Aboard the Worldbreaker, systems began to fail catastrophically. Krogath watched in horror as his ultimate weapon turned against itself, torn apart from the inside by an enemy too small to fight. As the Worldbreaker began to break apart, the tide of battle turned decisively. The remaining Imperial ships, seeing their superweapon destroyed, began to retreat. On the Avengers Bridge, a cheer went up. Sanchez allowed himself a moment of joy before turning serious again. "Don't celebrate yet, people. We've won the battle. But the war is far from over." As the human fleet regrouped, preparing to push their advantage, one thing became clear. The Galactic Empire had seriously underestimated humanity. And now, they would pay the price for that mistake. The stars themselves seemed to hold their breath, waiting to see what this upstart species would do next. The news of the Worldbreaker's destruction spread through the Galactic Empire like wildfire. On the imperial capital world of Xerex, Empress Zorak sat motionless on her crystalline throne, her 6 eyes fixed on the holographic display before her. "Impossible," she whispered, her voice a mix of fury and disbelief. "How could these insects defeat our mightiest weapon?" High Counselor Vextor approached cautiously, his tentacles writhing nervously. "Your Majesty, the humans have proven more resourceful than anticipated. Perhaps we should consider a different approach." Zorak's eyes flashed dangerously. "Are you suggesting we negotiate with these primitives, Vextor?" Before the counselor could respond, a new voice echoed through the throne room. "My Empress, if I may." All eyes turned to the newcomer. Admiral Xandrath, a living legend in the Imperial fleet, strode forward. His cybernetic implants gleamed in the low light, a testament to countless battles fought and won. "Speak, Admiral," Zorak commanded. Xandrath bowed deeply. "These humans have indeed surprised us, but they have also revealed their hand. I propose a new strategy, one that will crush their spirit and their world in one fell swoop." As the Empire plotted its next move, Earth celebrated its first major victory. In cities across the globe, people poured into the streets, cheering and embracing one another. The fear that had gripped humanity since the invasion began finally started to loosen its hold. In New York's Times Square, a massive screen showed Captain Miguel Sanchez addressing the world. "Today, we've proven that humanity will not go quietly into the night. We've shown the galaxy that Earth is not for the taking." The crowd roared its approval, but in a quiet office overlooking the celebration, General Sarah Chen felt uneasy. She turned to Dr. Yuki Tanaka, who was analyzing data from the battle. "They'll be back," Won't they? Chen asked softly. Tanaka nodded grimly. And they'll have learned from their mistakes. We need to be ready. Chen's comm unit buzzed. General, a breathless voice reported, we're picking up unusual activity at the edge of the solar system. You need to see this. In the depths of space, beyond the orbit of Pluto, a shimmering portal torn in the fabric of space-time appeared. From its swirling vortex emerged ship after ship of the Imperial fleet. But these weren't the same vessels humanity had faced before. They were larger, more angular, bristling with new weapons. Admiral Xandrath stood on the bridge of his flagship, the inevitable Doom. His cybernetic eye whirred as it analyzed the tactical display. So this is the cradle of our new enemy, he mused. Prepare for Phase 1 of Operation Starblight. Back on Earth, military bases scrambled into action as reports of the new Imperial fleet flooded in. In the Mojave base, Chen barked orders to her staff. I want every ship we have in the air now. And get me Sanchez. But before Earth's defenders could mobilize, the Imperial fleet made its first move. Hundreds of smaller craft detached from the larger ships, streaking towards the inner planets at impossible speeds. What are they doing? Tanaka wondered aloud, watching the tactical display. They're not heading for Earth. Realization dawned on Chen's face. They're going for Mars and Venus. They're terraforming weapons. Indeed, as the world watched in horror, the Imperial ships descended on humanity's neighboring planets. Massive devices were deployed, burrowing into the planet's surfaces. Within hours, Mars' red landscape began to shimmer and change, while Venus' thick atmosphere started to disperse. On the inevitable Doom, Xandrath allowed himself a cold smile. Let them watch as we reshape their system. Let them understand the true power of the Empire. Earth's fledgling space fleet, led by the Avenger, raced to intercept, but they were vastly outnumbered. Sanchez's voice crackled over the comms, strained but determined. We can't let them establish a foothold in our system. All ships engage at will. As battle was joined once again in the space around Mars and Venus, humanity faced a terrifying truth. The Empire wasn't just fighting for conquest anymore. They were remaking the very solar system to suit their needs. In New York, young Akira looked up at the night sky, where new stars seemed to have appeared, the fires of battle visible even from Earth. Papa, she whispered, what's happening to our home? Her father held her close, his voice thick with emotion. The war has truly begun, Akira. And this time, it's not just for Earth. It's for our entire world, our entire existence. As alarms sounded across the globe and humanity prepared for its greatest challenge yet, one question hung in the air. Could Earth stand against the full might of a galactic empire determined to reshape the very stars themselves? The skies above Mars glowed an eerie blue as Imperial terraforming machines reshaped the red planet. Earth's fleet, vastly outnumbered, fought desperately to slow the alien advance. Aboard the HSS Avenger, Captain Miguel Sanchez gritted his teeth as another blast rocked his ship. Status report, he barked. His second-in-command, a young officer named Raj, responded grimly. Shields at 30% stir. We've lost contact with the Defiant and 3 other ships. Sanchez's heart sank. Lieutenant Rodriguez and her crew. Gone. He pushed the grief aside. There would be time to mourn later, if they survived. All ships, fall back to Phobos, he ordered. We need to regroup. As Earth's battered fleet retreated, Admiral Xandrath watched from the bridge of the inevitable Doom. His cybernetic eye whirred, analyzing the battle data. Impressive, he mused. These humans fight with unexpected skill. But skill alone will not save them. He turned to his communications officer. Send word to the Empress. Phase 1 is complete. We are ready to begin Phase 2. Back on Earth, in the underground command center, General Chen and Dr. Tanaka worked frantically to devise a new strategy. Holographic displays showed the dire situation. Mars was nearly lost, and the Imperial fleet was already moving towards Venus. We can't fight them head-on, Chen said, frustration evident in her voice. We need something they won't expect. Tanaka's eyes suddenly lit up. What if we don't fight them at all? What if we let them in? Chen looked at her, confused. What do you mean? The nanobots, Tanaka explained excitedly. The ones we used on the Worldbreaker. What if we could deploy them on a massive scale? As the two women fine-tuned their desperate plan, the situation in space grew more dire. The Imperial fleet, having secured Mars, now surrounded Venus. The planet's thick atmosphere was rapidly dissipating, revealing a barren landscape ripe for colonization. Lieutenant Emma Rodriguez, who had managed to escape the destruction of the Defiant in a small fighter, watched the transformation of Venus with a mix of awe and horror. "This is Rodriguez to Earth Command," she transmitted. "Venus is. It's changing before our eyes. We need reinforcements." But reinforcements were scarce. Earth had thrown everything it had into the defense of Mars and Venus. Now, as those planets fell, fear gripped the population of Earth. Would they be next? In New York, young Akira and her father joined a crowd gathered in Central Park. A massive holographic display showed the battle raging around Venus. As another Earth ship winked out of existence, a collective gasp went through the crowd. Akira tugged on her father's sleeve. "Papa, are we losing?" Before he could answer, the display changed. General Chen's face appeared, her expression stern but determined. "People of Earth," she began, "the situation is grave. The Empire has technology we can't match. But we have something they don't, the indomitable human spirit. And we have a plan." As Chen outlined the desperate strategy, reactions varied. Some cheered, while others shook their heads in disbelief. It was risky, possibly suicidal. But it was also their last hope. In orbit around Earth, the remnants of humanity's fleet regrouped. Captain Sanchez addressed his fellow commanders, his voice tight with emotion. "I know we've lost friends, family. I know we're tired. But Earth needs us for one more push. Who's with me?" The response was unanimous. Every ship, from the mighty Avenger to the smallest fighter, signaled their readiness. As Earth's fleet prepared for their most daring mission yet, Admiral Xandrath sensed victory within his grasp. He opened a channel to Empress Zorak. "My Empress, Mars and Venus are ours. Earth stands alone. Shall we begin the final assault?" Zorak's holographic image smiled coldly. "Proceed, Admiral. Let us end this pitiful resistance once and for all." The Imperial Armada, flush with victory, began its approach to Earth. Thousands of ships, each capable of laying waste to entire continents, filled the space between the Moon and Earth. On the surface, in cities and towns across the globe, humans looked to the sky. The Empire's ships were visible even in daylight, a terrifying reminder of the power they faced. But as fear threatened to overwhelm them, something else took hold: determination. In labs and workshops, in military bases and civilian homes, humans worked feverishly to prepare for the coming battle. Dr. Tanaka's voice echoed through the global communication network. "All units, Operation Trojan Horse is a go. May fortune favor the bold." As the Imperial fleet entered Earth's orbit, ready to claim their final prize, humanity prepared to unleash its most audacious plan yet. The fate of not just Earth, but of human existence itself, hung in the balance. The final battle for Earth was about to begin. The sky above Earth burned with the fires of war. Imperial ships descended like a swarm of angry hornets, their weapons primed to deliver the final blow to humanity. But Earth was not going down without a fight. General Chen stood in the command center, her eyes fixed on the holographic display. "All units, commence Operation Trojan Horse. May God be with us all." Across the globe, hidden silos opened, but instead of missiles, they launched clouds of what looked like silver dust. To the naked eye, it seemed harmless. To the Empire, it would prove their undoing. Admiral Xandrath watched from the bridge of the inevitable doom as Earth's defenses crumbled under the Imperial assault. Cities burned, monuments fell. Victory seemed assured. "Status report," he commanded, his cybernetic eye gleaming with anticipation. An officer responded, confusion in his voice. "Sir, we're detecting some kind of particulate matter in Earth's atmosphere. It's interfering with our scans." Zandrath dismissed the concern with a wave of his hand. "Irrelevant. Prepare the landing crafts. It's time we took this planet for ourselves." But as the Imperial ships entered Earth's atmosphere, something strange began to happen. The silver dust, billions upon billions of nanobots, swarmed the alien vessels. They burrowed into hulls, infiltrated systems, and began to rewrite the very code that controlled the Empire's advanced technology. Aboard the HSS Avenger, Captain Sanchez watched in awe as enemy ships began to falter and fall from the sky. "It's working," he breathed. "By God, it's actually working." Lieutenant Rodriguez, piloting a fighter alongside the Avenger, couldn't contain her excitement. "Look at them fall." Earth Command, "The nanobots are a success." But the Empire was not so easily defeated. Admiral Zandrath, realizing the danger, acted quickly. "All ships, purge your systems. Revert to manual control." Some Imperial vessels managed to fight off the nanobot invasion, but many more succumbed. The mighty armada that had seemed unstoppable mere moments ago was now in disarray. On the surface, humans emerged from shelters to witness the incredible sight of alien ships plummeting from the sky. In Central Park, New York, Akira and her father watched open-mouthed as a massive Imperial cruiser crashed into the Hudson River. "Papa, are we winning?" Akira asked, hope shining in her eyes. Her father squeezed her hand. "I think we just might be, sweetheart." But the battle was far from over. The remaining Imperial ships, now wise to the nanobot threat, regrouped for a counterattack. Admiral Zandrath, his flagship still intact, was not about to admit defeat. "Enough of this," he snarled. "Prepare the Nova Cannon. If we can't have this planet, no one will." In the command center, alarms blared as sensors detected a massive energy buildup in the inevitable doom. Dr. Tanaka's face paled as she realized what it meant. "General, they're powering up some kind of super weapon. If that hits us..." Chen's mind raced. They had no defense against a weapon of that magnitude, unless... "Sanchez," she called over the comm, "can you get a squad close to that flagship?" "It'll be a suicide mission, Mom," Sanchez replied grimly. Chen closed her eyes, hating herself for what she had to say next. "I know, but it's our only chance." Sanchez understood. He opened a channel to his fleet. "I need volunteers for a special mission. High risk, no guarantee of return. Who's with me?" The response was immediate. Every ship in the fleet volunteered. Sanchez chose the fastest and most maneuverable crafts, including Rodriguez's fighter. As the small squad of Earth ships raced towards the inevitable doom, the rest of humanity held its breath. The Nova Cannon was almost charged, its muzzle glowing with apocalyptic energy. Admiral Zandrath allowed himself a cold smile. "Fire," he commanded. But at that very moment, Earth's suicide squad struck. They flew directly into the cannon's charging port, their ships laden with the very nanobots that had turned the tide of the battle. The resulting explosion was visible from the ground, a new star briefly blossoming in the daylight sky. The inevitable doom, pride of the Imperial fleet, split apart like a rotten fruit. In the stunned silence that followed, Chen's voice came over the global comm system. "The enemy flagship is down. All units, press the attack." For Earth, with their leader gone and their greatest weapon destroyed, the remaining Imperial ships began to retreat. Some tried to flee the solar system, only to be picked off by Earth's rejuvenated fleet. Others surrendered, their crews realizing that the supposedly primitive humans had bested the mighty Galactic Empire. As the last shots faded and the skies began to clear, a feeling spread across the planet, a feeling alien to humanity for far too long. Hope. The war wasn't over. Mars and Venus were still under Imperial control, and the greater empire remained a threat. But Earth had stood its ground. Humanity had faced extinction and emerged victorious. As night fell on a battered but unbroken Earth, people emerged from their shelters, looked to the stars, and for the first time in a long while, they smiled. The future was uncertain, but one thing was clear: humanity was here to stay. 1 year had passed since the Battle of Earth. The planet, scared but unbroken, buzzed with activity as humanity prepared for its next great leap. In the rebuilt United Nations headquarters in New York, General Sarah Chen addressed the leaders of the world. "Today, we stand at a crossroads," she began, her voice carrying the weight of hard-won victory. "We've defended our home, but the war is far from over. Mars and Venus remain under Imperial control, and beyond our solar system, the Galactic Empire still threatens countless worlds." The room was silent, every eye fixed on the woman who had led Earth to its greatest triumph. Chen continued, "But we are no longer merely defending. Today, we take the fight to the stars." As Chen spoke, in orbit above Earth, a magnificent sight unfolded. The HSS Avenger, now rebuilt and enhanced with reverse-engineered alien tech, led a fleet of new ships. Each vessel represented the pinnacle of human ingenuity combined with salvaged Imperial technology. On the Avenger's bridge, Captain Miguel Sanchez surveyed his crew. Many were veterans of the Earth War, their faces bearing the marks of hard-fought battles. Among them stood Lieutenant Emma Rodriguez, now his second in command. "All ships report ready, sir," Rodriguez announced, a hint of excitement in her voice. Sanchez nodded, allowing himself a small smile. "Then let's make history again." As the Earth fleet prepared to jump to Mars, activity on the Red Planet reached a fevered pitch. Imperial forces, still reeling from their defeat at Earth, scrambled to prepare their defenses. But they were not the only ones getting ready for a fight. Deep beneath the Martian surface, in hidden caverns and secret bases, resistance fighters prepared for battle. These were the humans who had been trapped on Mars when the Empire arrived, forced to watch as their new home was twisted into an alien world. Now, they were ready to take it back. Leading the Martian resistance was Dr. Yuki Tanaka. After the Battle of Earth, she had volunteered for the dangerous mission of infiltrating Mars to organize the scattered human colonists. Her expertise with the nanobot technology had been crucial in preparing for this day. "All units, stand by." Tanaka's voice crackled through secure channels. "Earth fleet approaching. Prepare to initiate Operation Homecoming." In the Imperial Command Center on Olympus Mons, the new governor of Mars, Vorkath, received the news of Earth's approaching fleet with a mix of fear and anticipation. Unlike his predecessors, Vorkath harbored doubts about the Empire's invincibility. "Send word to Empress Zorak," he ordered. "Request immediate reinforcements." But even as the message was sent, Vorkath knew it was too late. The Empire, overconfident in its technology and vast numbers, had never faced a species like humans before. And now, they were about to pay the price for their arrogance. As the Earth fleet emerged from jump space, the sky above Mars erupted in fire. Imperial ships rose to meet the human attackers, energy weapons blazing. But this time, Earth was prepared. Sanchez's voice rang out across the fleet. "Remember your training. Use the nanobot shields. For Earth and Mars." The battle raged across the Martian sky, a dazzling display of advanced technology and human determination. But the real game-changer came from below. At Tanaka's signal, the Martian resistance activated their secret weapon. All across the planet, Imperial technology began to fail as specially programmed nanobots, hidden for months, sprang into action. Vorkath watched in horror as his command screens went dark. "What's happening?" he roared. A junior officer, panic in his voice, replied, "Sir, we're detecting widespread system failures across the planet. It's like the Battle of Earth all over again." As Imperial defenses crumbled, Earth's ships landed on Martian soil. Human soldiers, alongside Martian resistance fighters, swept across the Red Planet, reclaiming it city by city, base by base. In New York, young Akira and her father watched the news broadcasts with growing excitement. "Papa, we're winning again," Akira cheered. Her father nodded, tears in his eyes. "Yes, sweetheart. And this time, we're not just defending. We're taking back what's ours." As Mars fell to the combined Earth-Martian forces, the news spread across the galaxy. On countless worlds under Imperial rule, oppressed species looked to the skies with newfound hope. If humans could defeat the Empire, maybe they could too. In her palace on Xerex, Empress Zorak received the news of Mars' fall with cold fury. "So," she hissed, "these humans think they can challenge us. Very well. Let them come. The Empire has stood for millennia. We will not fall to these upstart primitives." But even as she spoke, doubt crept into her voice. For the first time in living memory, the Galactic Empire faced a foe it could not easily crush. As the human fleet regrouped around a liberated Mars, Captain Sanchez and his crew looked out at the stars. Venus awaited liberation, and beyond that, countless worlds suffering under Imperial rule. The war was far from over, but humanity had taken its first steps into a larger galaxy, and they had served notice to the Empire and every other race among the stars. Earth and its people would not run. They would not be destroyed. They would fight. They would survive. And they would thrive. The age of humanity had begun.